2024 town meeting, everybody. I'm going to assume it's close to our 272nd, but welcome, and Lorraine, go ahead.
So if we last a couple more years, there'll be a party?
But I think we should.
We should have a party at 275.
All right, my name is Lorraine Faraday. I'm your moderator for tonight. Welcome to the voters, welcome to others. You want to turn off your cell phones if you haven't already done that. Emergency exit, there's one there. I think that door goes to the hallway, and you could probably go out to the patio that way. Restrooms are out and to the right down the hallway. Most of you probably went to Lincoln Academy, you know where this stuff is. Okay, you must be a registered voter in Newcastle to speak, except for there are several people here that are non-residents, and I think if we could do this with just one motion, if they need to speak, we would have Seth and Kevin and Michael and Peter. Is anybody else not from Newcastle that thinks they might going to need to speak? Okay. Could we have a motion from somebody? So moved. Second. You want to practice with your clickers? No? Just raise your hands. Okay. All right. Motion carries. So, Ben is going to talk about the remote control. I guess we need on Article 6. Shall the town utilize remote electronic keypad voting as a method of voting for all articles at this town meeting, the June 17th, 2024 annual town meeting? We have a motion for that and a second. All right. Want to vote on that? With the clicker?
Just a second, yes.
Okay. So, is anybody, let's do it this kosher. Is anybody opposed to voting with electronic? All right, motion passes.
Okay, I was just going to go through a quick demo. Is there anybody who hasn't used the clickers here? Everybody used the clickers before? We're going to skip it.
Okay, 1 for yes and 2 for no will be our way we'll go along here.
Oh, no, we got the
Show of hands. Okay.
All right.
All right, all those in favor? All those opposed? All right. We will use the electronic remote keypads. All right. Article 6 and I'm sorry, 7 and 8. Do we want to, Michael? Do you want to do these separately? All right. Article 7. Shall the town adopt the proposed amendments to the core zoning code as drafted in the document titled Proposed Core Zoning Code Amendments 2024.03 and addressed at the public hearing held by the Planning Board on March 28th, 2024. Do we have a motion for Article 7 and a second? Okay. All right. Michael, you have comments on that?
Yeah. Do you want me to go over there? Can I just
Yeah. Yeah. Use my microphone. Use my chair.
Okay.
Oh, there's one up there. I'm sorry. My bad.
Hello, my name is Michael Martone, the town planner. The changes to the core zoning code that are proposed mostly are in response to the state's soon-to-be enacted or currently enacted LD 2003 law, which mostly impacts residential. So you'll see we added some language for affordable housing and the number of units in a building. We also added agricultural building type, and we cleaned up a good amount of language. So made it clear that there's no design standards in the rural area. We moved some language around in there just to make it clear, make the whole thing more clear, and then also cleaned up some definitions. A lot of it's technical. Most of the rest of it is state, kind of to comply with the state mandated LD 2003.
Is this available on the website?
It is available on the website, and there is a memo that goes into a bit more detail than I just did, but it's all up there.
Okay, is there any questions or discussions? Yes?
I have a question, and I think I just don't understand the, architectural business of it all. On page 42.
Repeat her
and on
question.
page 44, you have a table that's listed as 4.1 allowable addition location by district, but the addition locations are different on each table, and I was wondering if you could just explain the difference of, some districts you can put an addition on the side, on one table, but it has to be on the back, on the other table, and I'm just confused.
Let me grab, so I can look at the pages.
Oh, okay. I have them.
You said pages 40,
42 and 44.
42, allowable addition. Oh, so on page 44, the design standards by district, this is where massing components and architectural components are allowed based on whether it's the front, side, or rear by district. So those are architectural components or massing components, which are different than when you look at the allowable addition by location, that 4.1, that is additions, which the difference essentially is that additions, there's not really design standards for. You can have kind of crazy windows and the sizes. So additions are kind of the blank slate, and then the architectural components and massing components have a bit more regulation around them. So.
Okay, so if I understand correctly, you could build an addition which doesn't have all of the bells and whistles on it in one area, but you would have to adhere to the massing components or the architectural components and you put it on the other areas?
Yes, depending on what's in the table.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was very confused.
Okay.
I appreciate the
Good.
Thank you.
Great.
Okay, anyone else? All right, take your clickers out, and for Article 7, motion was to adopt the proposed amendments. All those in favor, number 1, or opposed, number 2? There are 31 people that have voted.
Yeah.
That's about what's here.
All right.
Okay. 26 yes, 5 no. The motion carries. Okay. Article 8, shall the town adopt the proposed amendments to the shoreland zoning ordinance and the associated shoreland zoning map as drafted in the documents entitled Proposed Shoreland Ordinance Amendment 2024.02.15, the shoreland land use tables, default current proposed PDF, and the shoreland zoning map dated March 2024 as addressed at the public hearing held by the Planning Board on March 28, 2024. We have a motion, moved, and we have a second? Second. All right. Michael, you want to discuss that one too?
Sure. So clarify that it's all will end up being the ordinance and the map. That land use table's default current proposed was more for context because most of the changes that are happening or that are proposed for shoreline zoning are a result of the state's Chapter 1000 is their baseline kind of model ordinance that everybody has to adopt. And that's the default. Then there's the current land use table that the town has, and then there's the proposed. So, most of what's in here is making sure we're in compliance with the state's regulations, and then there's some clarification, cleaning things up so that it matches or ties in with core zoning code. And then the other big thing is creating a village center district, which essentially allows the shoreline zoning to kind of match what the core zoning code allows in the downtown where there is sewer. So we have a bit more flexibility than what the state says we have to do. The other big thing I will tell you, on the map, Dodge Point will look like it is not protected, or we've taken it out of shoreline. It was never really in shoreline to begin with, so that orange color is going to be gone. But anything that is in Dodge Point that is in shoreline zoning, still protected. Anything that was not in shoreline zoning was never really protected by shoreline zoning anyway, so that's not changing. Just want you to know that it's a graphical change, but it's still safe. So, and then yeah, like I said, cleaning up text and the organization of the document, which is mostly for admin. So.
Okay, questions? Yes, sir. You want to use the mic? They'll yell at me. No. Nope.
My question is, the meeting where the map was reviewed, the folks at Rumline who were producing the map indicated that there would be changes to certainly the stream issues that were pointed out at that meeting. And talking earlier today with the town manager, he had indicated that this would be an approval tonight if we vote such, that would then be subject to further revision in the near future.
At a future special town meeting or annual town meeting?
Okay, to recognize the necessary edits to that and other features potentially.
For the map.
For the map, yes. Thank you.
If that is what Kevin just said the process will be, then that is what it will be. Yeah, I mean, we did make some changes to the map. Most of it, I think, was data-driven. We also got them to give us a map so we'll know why things are in resource protection or not. That's for reference, and so but we also got that from them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but yes, whatever Kevin told you, I'm sure is accurate.
So if I'm hearing it means that changes are possible through the appropriate process, is that right? Yeah.
Well, it's certainly possible. The question is whether they are preordained to be dealt with. Certainly the stream issues, which they indicated at that meeting, did need to be revised in some cases.
So the question around, I guess, any features that are streams or like where things are located, what I can tell you is the map is really just guidance, and whatever the reality on the ground is what rules. So if there's a 75-foot setback from a stream, for example, if the stream is 10 feet that way, we measure from the stream, and if we're going to look at the map and say there's a wetland here, or there's a stream here, and it doesn't exist, and you're still in shoreland, so the map is a guide. We measure from like what's actually on the ground.
Okay. All right, any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Yeah, some people came in.
Good.
Okay, yes 32, no 3. Motion carries. All right, thank you, Michael.
New town manager, there was an increase in the salary, so that is one of the increases. Let's see. There was a title change in the full-time deputy, so that has completely been erased. The vision, dental, life insurance also has been decreased significantly. I'm just looking for significant increases. The ads are up significantly. It's a 100% increase due to the work being done to update our ordinances. We're having to advertise special town meetings more frequently, so that's been an increase. And there's been an increase in professional development fees just to help improve our town office team. And I think that is the bulk of the change. I don't know if there are any further questions from the public.
Yeah. Do these include the perks that the employees get?
Yep.
These figures include the perks?
Yes.
Okay.
Any further questions?
Everyone's voted? All right. Okay, 29 yes and 5 no. Motion carries. Article 10, shall the town raise and appropriate for the community and public services category as follows? And you have community and public services, and the total seems to be $202,864. Okay. Any discussion on Article 10? Yes.
I just wonder why the adult education budget is zeroed out.
The question is why the adult education budget has zeroed out.
Sorry, I was going to touch on this. I was assigned community and public services. Community and public services includes all of the agencies we provide.
Article 11, shall the town raise and appropriate for the planning and development category as follows? And I believe the final total here is $90,671. And to accept? Okay, and a second? Okay. All right, any discussion on this?
I can walk you through this briefly. I mean, it's a significant decrease. Planning and development is this is a breakout article this year. We used to have planning and development integrated into public services, so now we have a separate article for this to highlight it. But basically the decrease is really associated with the planning board. There's been a reduction in planning board consultation, administration costs, and then there's a $35,000 broadband budget line item that was covered for the what did we call it? The expansion of the broadband to no service residents. So that's been zeroed out this year, and that won't show up again. So the result is a 31.13% decrease in that budget. So, any questions?
Okay, seeing no other questions, to the total at the bottom, it's $282,391. It's bottom of the first page, second and top of the third. Do we have a motion to accept this? So moved in a second? Second? You two came together, right? Okay. All right, we have any questions or comments on the public safety budget?
I'll go over this one. A lot of these have held pretty flat. Couple changes, pretty small changes, but slight uptick in fire department hourly call pay. It was $1,000. This is just to come more in line with the industry standards, making sure firefighters are compensated to a fair market. Seeing as everybody's a volunteer, covering pretty much, it's helping cover lost wages during the day if they have to leave work and that sort of stuff. There's a slight decrease in communications for the fire department. This was done mostly because the department had made a lot of purchases in the last few years to bring themselves up to a better level for communications, so that number has gone down slightly. There was a slight increase in hydrants. There's also been a few hydrants added with the recent water line work, so that reflects that. And other than that, everything is held pretty flat. Any questions?
Any other questions or comments? All right, hearing none.
No, there's one in the back.
Oops, one in the back, I missed somebody. Yes, please.
So the animal control is zeroed out in 2 areas. I just wondered why.
Was that included in the?
Animal control isn't zeroed out, but the LC animal shelter is,
I think
and wild animal control.
for some reason I believe that was part of the contract we signed with Lincoln County Sheriff's Department. They cover that cost.
So that money's just.
As part of, yeah.
It's elsewhere.
I'll add to that. That's an expense that only happens if there's an issue with an animal from our town, ends up at the Mid-Coast Humane Society, then we are on the hook for it. In FY '24, which we're still in, we haven't had one of those animals. So that's, should we budget for that, or can we utilize some of our contingency funds to pay for those if we do end up with either a wild animal or an animal from someone's home that needs to be taken to the shelter? We haven't had one this year, so I zeroed it out.
So you would pay if you needed to use that?
Yes, and so in the past, we've budgeted for it, and we have had issues. I mean, I believe the FY '23 actual was about $2,800 for an animal care, but we haven't had one this year. So I don't, it's that trade-off between do you budget for it, an unplanned event, or not, and I chose to present a budget that dropped in.
Question? Okay, all right. Anyone else? All right, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay, you got 35 there. Okay, 34 yes and 1 no, motion carries. All right. Article 13, shall the town raise and appropriate for the public works category as follows? And we get down to the total is $812,450. Do we have a motion to accept? So moved. Seconds, okay. Any discussion or questions?
I'll take this.
Okay.
So the biggest change that we see in the public works budget this year is for our snow removal roads. And that's because we're at the end of, we just finished up a 5-year contract with contractor. And through that time, things have changed a lot. Labor's gone up. materials, fuel, equipment, all these things. We were one of the few towns that was not presented with an increase on our contract. Other towns, surrounding towns were. So we kind of reaped the benefits of not having to pay more through that 5-year contract. But this is the adjustment into where things are now. So that's why it's such a big jump this year.
Just as a continuation, does that mean going forward it's going to be that same amount on a multi-year contract?
So this is for a 1-year price. We're currently working on a 3-year contract, I think, waiting for that to go, and then that will be presented as an item. But there's always an increase every year within any contract, but it won't be a jump like that every year, no.
But you think it's going to be that price going forward then?
Correct, yeah, it's not going to go down. Things don't usually go down, so, unfortunately. Yep.
Joe?
Yes.
What about Glinda Street? Can you give us an update on that? Does that come under public works?
That is not actually a town project, but are you talking about the water lines that are going in? I mean, so Seth was just working out there today, trying to get water back on out there. I'm not sure about the status of it. Again, that's through the water district that project is being taken care of. That's not a town. That's not a town project. So it's nothing that we've budgeted for. That's nothing that we've planned for. But Hagar Enterprises is doing the work on that.
Sanitary?
Correct. Yep.
And a large grant they got from the federal government.
Right. Yeah.
Well, this gentleman gave me a date as when they're going to be completed, and I forgot what it was.
Contractors who've been working on that to, again, hold them to a standard, make sure things get done correctly, and to be able to provide information to residents. So the website is a good place to look for those kind of updates.
Is there any discussion on the update of the four-corner intersection?
That's something that
It's been ongoing for 5 or 6 years, 7
yeah,
years.
and I think it's something that's still going forward with some of the other initiatives we have going. So yeah, a little discussion around it. Yep.
Meeting to come to their next board meeting and under public comments, ask them about that. So, any other questions or, yes, I got 2 back here. Let's see, gentleman with a hat.
My understanding that we're on the 5th year of the snowplow contract, is that right?
Our 5th year has expired. We're done with our previous contract. So 5 years ago, we
Is that going to go out to bid?
Nope. The select board decided not to go out to bid for a few reasons. One of the reasons was that we've over the years we've developed a very kind of specialized system of treating our roads. So we have salt programs. We have an infrastructure on Mills Road that isn't really that great, and so it's a harder thing to just put out to any contractor who could take care of it, and we've been getting good service at a fair price, and so the question was, do we put it out to bid when we don't always go with the lowest bid. That's part of what we've always done on the select board. We go with what we're going to get the best value for our citizens out of, and so that was the board's decision.
So if you don't have to take the lowest bid, you would still put it out to bid?
We could.
Still choose who you want?
Yep. But it's an added thing to write up an RFP for, again, the specialized program that we've developed over the last several years. So it's a fair amount of work to do that. It's time consuming, and at this time, especially with the situation that we have with our infrastructure that the town owns, for having that a base of operations to work out of, we really have the contractor that we need to be able to do that and get it done.
I think that's a mistake, but
Yeah.
even so, I'd like to see the salt included in the bid and not have the town buy all the salt.
Okay.
Gentlemen without the hat.
David Lodak, 30 Glidden Street. I'm wondering why we see for the third year in a row no maintenance for the town landing. And particularly after the storms of last year, there's some erosion going on. A huge tree at the head of the right of way that someday may come down. So I just want to know the rationale for its exclusion.
So for the microphone, he's asking about the town landing?
In street location.
Well, we only have one town landing.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
No one's brought it up. Would you like us to make it bigger and more accessible? No.
Maybe a speed bump on it or whatnot, but it really does need to be mowed and reconstructed, I think, or looked at least after the storms. And that tree is pretty massive, and if it does come down. it will
Up at the
block
top?
At the head of the right of way.
Okay. Okay.
I don't want to confuse anyone either. It's really not much of a town landing. So just don't try and launch your seaway.
No.
Jump into a boat if you want.
Yeah.
Probably not practical.
Yeah, I don't even think you can get a kayak in the water there, can you?
Yeah.
Oh, you can? Okay.
But it is used often, I would say, because I obviously see folks go down there and, with high grass, I don't know if people can regulate enough when they drive down there. During one of the big floods, the picnic table that was there did float. I don't think it left the area totally, but it was floating.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
I don't know if that's a town asset or not, but I did see it floating.
Yeah, I rescued it.
Thank you.
We'll have to look at that.
Comments about this motion? All right, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Okay, last chance.
There you go.
All right. 26 yes, 8 no, motion carries. All right, Article 14. Shall the town raise and appropriate for reserve accounts as follows, and the transfers to the reserve total would be $1,058,035. Do we have a motion to accept Article 14? So moved. And a second? Okay. Discussion.
I'll run through what this covers briefly. Let's see. The first thing we have listed is the Harriet Bird Playground Reserve Fund, and we're looking at putting $1,500 in there, as we've done over the years, for repairs and improvements out there. And judging from what I saw on the roof recently, that's not far off, needing new one. Oh, a little feedback. Is that me?
Yep.
Okay. We dropped funding, any more funding right now for the Veterans Park Reserve Fund. All right, how do I not do that? I'm not sure what's picking up.
Probably both microphones are picking you up.
How about if I just, here, let me just go over here. Reserve fund is for flowers and mulch and such, but we've been getting some donations and things over the last few years, and we've got enough money in there to take care of the park for a while, so we didn't need to add to it this year. Roads capital projects. This is our big amount. We've got, let's see, looks like about $967,000 going in there. This is to, I'll just give you a quick list of what this includes. We're going to complete Phase 3 on Island Road, which is the final surface of that one. Academy Hill Road, we will reclaim and pave another 1,000 feet of that. I think we'll have one more after this, till we get it all done, Seth? Okay, then Academy Hill will then get its final coat in about 2 budget seasons. We're looking at doing a rebuild of Hassan Avenue on the Route 215 side. Anyone who's driven down there recently knows it needs it. We're going to redo, again, something that really needs it, the sidewalk from the fire station on River Road, 1,000 feet towards town, which will leave one more section that we'll need to complete in the future. And we're looking at doing a shim and overlay of Kavanaugh Road. The computer reserve fund, we're not going to put anything else into it this year. We've got enough to cover upcoming computer replacements, which we will need to be doing. The Newcastle Building Reserve Fund, we're not going to put any more money in it right now. We need to figure out what our long-term plans are. And we've got some money sitting in there anyway. The Revaluation Reserve Fund, as I think most of you know, we'll be getting letters right off. We're doing a revaluation to keep ourselves where we need to be in compliance with state percentages. So this $27,000 is going into the Revaluation Reserve Fund to pay for that. Fringe Benefit Reserve Fund it's mostly used to pay someone when they have unused earned vacation and they leave, or they've accrued a lot of it and need to get paid out for some of it. So we use that money every year. Fire Truck Reserve Fund, we're going to put another $50,000 in there this year if you approve that, and that will give us $150,000. Our certified assessment ratio, I don't know. But somebody else does.
Yeah, I talked to Jim today, he doesn't know. What he does know is that he's chasing me.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions about our reserve funds? No? Okay.
None. Transfers to reserve, 1 for yes, 2 for no. And Ben, we had 2 more people come in. Maybe they're not voting yet. There we go.
Anybody else?
Okay, we've all voted, 31 yes and 4 no. Motion carries. Okay, number 15, shall the town raise and appropriate for debt services as follows? And the amount suggested is $249,857. Have a motion to approve this? So moved. To second? Thank you. All right, any discussion on debt service? Tor?
This is pretty stagnant. I mean, we only carry 2 loans right now for a fire truck and for Academy Hill repairs. Yeah, that's that. So these are fixed rate loans, and the town's in really good shape as far as our debt service. So that's all we got. Any questions?
Any other questions or comments? All right, 1 for yes, 2 for no. Going once? All right. 35 yes and 1 no, motion carries. All right. Article 16, shall the town authorize the select board to accept prospective gifts and donations, providing the board places these funds in an appropriately designated reserve accounts and only used for the intended purposes stated or in the best interest of the town? We have a motion and a second. Okay. All right, any discussion about this? Yes, Ellen?
Can we combine some of the final articles, like all of them? They're all yes or no. They're all kind of
I'm not.
housekeeping.
Yeah, I know, they're all housekeeping boilerplate. I'm not sure we can combine them. I think we need to go through it. There shouldn't be any well.
You don't have to read them. You don't have to read them.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you can do it.
We could do 16 to 32.
Yeah, because it
So
does,
the first, Lorraine?
yes.
The way you can do it is you would first waive the reading of the number of articles you want to skip, so 17 through 32.
16 through 32.
Or 16.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, 16 through 32.
Well, we just had a motion in a second for 16.
Okay, yeah, so,
Okay.
yeah, we've got one motion, but then I'll do 17. Go ahead.
And then
Comments?
if everybody votes, if there's no objection, you can defeat it with a single objection. It's not a majority vote, it's a single objection vote.
Okay,
And then if that's allowed, then you can have, you can take all the articles at once with a motion and a second, and then have discussion on any of them.
thank you, Peter. Okay, there is, however, a motion and a second on Article 16. So other than Ellen's question, 1 for yes, 2 for no. On Articles 17 through 32, and a second, we've got it, okay. Any discussion on that? Right. Anyone opposed to waiving the reading?
Our solution is to filter the water going forward. It can be filtered. It's carbon-based filtering system, but it does require continued maintenance and installation once it's found.
11,000 sounds a little small.
We're talking about, I'm going to say 4 or 5 properties right now that we've identified. We're providing water to some of them while we're getting the installation complete. And I moved money as part of that August 2023 special town meeting. I had the town meeting move some money to start the process of this. So.
Is the town systematically testing parts around Newcastle, or is that the state?
That's the state. They have what these perimeters or proximity to the location. They're doing sort of around the state. They're doing the closest proximity to all the landfills that have had sludge passage, and then they'll go to that next round, and then they'll go to that next round. There's still a lot of testing that has to be done. And from a conference I went to where the DEP spoke about this, there are some 20,000 different PFAS. They only know how to track about a dozen of them. So and it's not just an issue Newcastle is facing it, we're facing it globally.
It's a lot bigger issue than just
Yeah, so.
small towns, yeah.
Questions about this? Yes?
The amount that you're setting aside, as you described it, is for a fairly limited environmental situation. There are other sites in town that have PFAS issues according to the DEP's maps. Do you think you should be asking for more cash in the short run? Or are you just going to start with this and then dip into reserves and then readjust in the next fiscal year?
Yeah, the intent here is, I've done 2 things in this budget working with the select board. Propose this 11,000 to essentially keep addressing the issues we know about and are aware of. The DEP will come to us and tell us, hey, there's this program, we cover 100% of it. There's this program for this issue, and you cover 10% of it. We'll figure that out as we go forward. In addition to this, I did encourage the select board to use some of our fund balance, and this has already been approved, part of the general government, to use $50,000 of our unassigned fund balance in our contingency account this year, so that I can continue to identify where these gaps are and work with the board to pay for them. So that next year I can come more informed, especially around PFAS, severe storms, the things that are starting to pop up that it's hard to plan for. So that is part of what's in this budget is about a $50,000 use of fund balance for contingency. The board can make decisions on that contingency based on my recommendations or suggestions.
In the recent Pullman Press Herald article on this subject, one of the thrusts of that argument that they were bringing forward was that the state does not have adequate funding currently appropriated to deal with the issues that we're counting on them to cover.
Yeah. The biggest thing that anyone can do is stop using products that have PFAS in them. It starts upstream.
All right. So let's vote on Article 35. Thank you, Kevin. 1 for yes, 2 for no.
I'm on the next one too, or I'll talk about the next one too. It's not on.
What next one?
I'll explain after this.
What next one? I'm ready to adjourn.
I know you are, but I just want to clarify that that's not on here anymore.
It's not there?
That's not.
So we don't have to vote on it?
No.
Okay. All right. All right. 38 yes and 0 no. PFAS is a big issue. In your annual report in the blue section, there is a number 36, and you'll be thrilled to know that that's not on your agenda tonight to vote on.
36 was addressed at the special town meeting in the middle of May. I want to say May 13th. Yes. Oh, there it is. So I apologize that it is in your town report, but we had initially thought maybe the board would want to try to address it tonight. They chose to instead have a special town meeting to address it at that time. So the book isn't what the board signed, and the board signed one that didn't have Article 36. So thank you for staying, even if you wanted to vote for that. Thank you for staying through all the other things too.
Thank you for everybody that came out. All 38 of you, plus the selectmen. I've done a bunch of these. People are well-behaved and intelligent and civil, which is a nice change of pace for some meetings. Thank you.
Before you adjourn it, I just want to say thank you. Well, you can say too. But thank you to Joel. He's been here 9 years, and this is his last meeting, so.
Welcome back. And
Adjourn it, or if the selectmen have to do it.
I think Roger had a question.
Roger had a question?
Yeah, I just want to, Karen, is there any veterans here tonight? No veterans? Got one. No, I was going to bring up the discussion about the state requirement that requires
The town take care.
Maintain.
the services on veterans' burial sites, but that's okay. The other thing I got one for the comment. Every time that we vote tonight, we're going to, and actually it was 38 people. I'll go back 5 years, we had here, the maximum people voting was about 56 people. I'll go back 20 years. We were in the gym, we filled the gym, and we voted by hand, and we counted approximately 165 people in attendance. What's happening?
To a town meeting, and that's the future. You know, some of us are, we're fading, and thank you for doing that. We had 2 that were under 6 months, so their first town meeting. So this is exciting. Thank you. And If I can, I'll say we're adjourned.